Taking up the job at the EFCC, that your entry into the commission will help sanitize the commission and that corruption will reduce magnificently. But have you actually met that expectation of Nigerians in terms of tackling corruption when you took the tool of the EFCC?
Well, it is obvious that Nigerians expect far more from the EFCC. More public officers should be in jail by now. Unfortunately, that has not happened. On my own part, the little assignments they have given to me, I have tried as much as possible to discharge my responsibilities. And we have achieved few successes here and there, but so much is yet to be achieved. Do not forget that there was a time that the previous leadership of EFCC said, in the case of Bode George, that there was really no case against Bode George, that there was, they didn't find anything wrong that he did. And so what they did was that they kept his file in the drawer, and the thing was gathering dust there. Until, some of us took up the file, dusted it up, went to court, and the rest is history. Not only Bode George, 6 others, I'm sure, 5 others, I'm sure you know, were convicted in that case. There are so many others that are still walking the streets free of charge that should actually be in jail. The judicial system has not helped. The criminal procedure has also not helped. And I'm sure you saw recently the suggestion I sent to the National Assembly on how to speed up corruption trials.
Can you repeat that on tape, summarize it?
It's very simple. All defense lawyers in all the criminal trials, they have only one tactic that they use in frustrating criminal trials. The moment you file a charge against an accused person, the moment the person takes his plea, whether guilty or not guilty, the moment he gets his bail, the next thing the lawyer files, instead of going straight to trial and concluding that trial within 6 months, they file what they call a preliminary objection. In the preliminary objection, they will say, well, the court has no jurisdiction to try the accused person, or the proof of evidence is not sufficient, or that the charge is defective. In most cases, these objections are very frivolous. The court overrules them. Once they are overruled, they now go on appeal and ask for a stay of proceedings at the court below. That preliminary issue will now travel to the Supreme Court for 8 to 10 years. And I'm sure you saw Wagbara's case of recent. Adolfo Wagbara. People have forgotten totally about that case. The case will travel all the way to Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court will refer them back again for retrial, and they will now come back again. In most cases, the witnesses would have gone out of jurisdiction. Some would have died, some would have lost their memories, and at times, God save you if you see some of the exhibits. So since we know that this is the problem, preliminary objections, why not devise a law by which we can outlaw it? The EFCC Act has since recognized that. So if you look at Section 40 of the EFCC Act, it says that such interlocutory appeals shall not act as a stay of proceedings in criminal trials that the EFCC is prosecuting. But then, other lawyers have argued, and in fact they argued it in one of my cases, that the EFCC Act is inferior to the Constitution, that the Constitution is superior to the EFCC Act, and as such, since the Constitution grants a right of appeal, gives a right of appeal, that part of that right of appeal is a right to hear your appeal before the trial can continue at the court below. And guess what? Many judges have accepted that argument. So what do we do in order to make sure that these arguments cannot continue? I have said it, and I'm sure the National Assembly, they know what I'm talking about. I know senior lawyers know what I'm talking about. I know my colleagues know what I'm talking about. It's very simple. Remove Section 40 of the EFCC Act and put it as a constitutional provision. And the provision in the Constitution shall be that notwithstanding, I repeat, notwithstanding anything contained in the Constitution, that any interlocutory appeal in any criminal matter in Nigeria shall not act as a stay to criminal proceedings. And then all criminal proceedings shall be deemed adjourned from day to day. They did it in the case of election petitions, I'm sure you know, where they amended the Constitution to make sure that election petitions are finished within a particular time frame. Of course, in this case, you cannot do that in criminal matters. You cannot restrict the time. But you can also make such provisions, regulating procedure, to make sure that these criminal trials are not frustrated.
So do you have confidence that that suggestion you submitted to the National Assembly will be passed to...
Well, they replied me. The Senate President replied me saying that they thanked me for my suggestion, but that, of course, they are reviewing it. The Speaker also replied me saying that they thanked me so much and they passed it on to the Constitutional Review Committee and they are looking at it. But it is left to Nigerians, and I'm begging Nigerians not to keep quiet at this time. I have done my patriotic duty. You may not like my face for some reasons. You may hate me for some reasons, but you will not deny the fact that I always speak up my mind.
So recently the President granted Alamieyeseigha state pardon. So what do you think is the essence of that, or what do you think the effect will be on those of you working for the Anti-Graft agency? Do you think if a criminal, a convicted person, is granted state pardon the next day or the next year, does the EFCC prosecuting corruption, does it still have essence at all?
You know, this decision by the President, it makes a complete mockery of the law enforcement agencies. It makes a complete mockery of the anti-corruption agencies. In fact, it gives you the impression that we are all wasting our time. If you know what we go through to secure a conviction, without mentioning names, I'm sure you saw it now before this interview started, that we were preparing a witness for one of our trials against a public, high-ranking former public officer. We're just going through. You saw all the pains the witness took to come to this office for us to prepare her for trial. Those are the pains we go through to secure just one conviction. And after all the years of pains and trial, somebody by the stroke of his pen says, all you have done is rubbish. I pardon you. What lesson does it teach? We are already ranking very low in the Corruption Perceptions Index of Transparency International. This decision further damages the image of this country, destroys confidence of investors in this country, destroys confidence of the people in government. It also encourages corruption at the highest and lowest level in public life. It encourages stealing in public office. It does not teach any lesson at all. This decision is bad, it is bad, it is bad, and we must all condemn it. Those who advised the President to do it, they were completely unpatriotic to have done that. You are the President and Commander-in-Chief, for Christ's sake. If you want to favor your benefactor, yes, we agree, Alamieyeseigha was a benefactor. He picked him from nowhere, made him deputy governor, and that was his journey to becoming president. But as President and Commander-in-Chief, there are so many ways you can favor him. You can give him, some favors without damaging the image of the country. Because the President has enormous powers to give privileges and favors. Why did he not do that? Why did he choose to take a decision that smells like an offensive order across the world? And I'm sure you have seen reactions from across the world, angry reactions. He's quite insensitive to the feelings of Nigerians. And this is a decision that was roundly condemned. And let me tell you this, even the President's Men Friday, the Men Friday of the President, I'm sure you saw their body language. They were also not very confident defending the action of the President. They know it is wrong. And let me say this, conscience is an open wound. Only truth can heal it. Even in the quiet recesses of their bedrooms, the ministers, the special advisors to the President, they will look at themselves and say, oh boy, we were wrong. Why did we do that?